What is going on, everybody? My name is Conor Lawler. Welcome back to another week of Hero or Zero here on the Heroes for Hire podcast. I am joined, as always, by my best pal, Mr. Shaun Mead. Shaun, how's it going?
In a great mood this evening, Conor. Only to be dampened by another shit DC report.
Straight in. No messing about.
I'm setting a tone for this episode.
Our intro last week, we actually had several comments underneath the Spotify and all the other streaming platforms that said it was our best intro. And that was the one time that you fucked up and forgot to do an intro.
Yeah.
Which makes me question the quality of every other episode.
Honestly, if that's the peak, what's the valley, you know?
So this is Hero Zero. This is the show where we choose one comic book character every single week. We talk their good points and their bad points, and we generally just give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that character. I normally do DC characters, and Shaun normally does Marvel characters.
Yes.
And that's why Shaun doesn't like DC. He hates them, in fact.
Marvel is going to be on top forever, guys.
It's never going to fail.
I'm also recording this in 2014 for what it's worth.
Guardians of the Galaxy just came out. You're riding high.
Yeah, this high's going to last forever. Don't worry about it.
The money train's never going to end.
The bubble's never going to burst.
300 million on Echo, please.
That's out in like January. What's going on?
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Also, apparently Agatha is called
Chaos.
It's called Agatha all along now.
Oh, they changed it again.
Yeah, to match up with the song that was popular for a weekend.
Great stuff. Amazing.
Love it.
That's how it works. That was very funny in 2020.
Yeah, but like we were fucking eager for a laugh in 2020, weren't we?
Eager. So Shaun, before we get into this week's Hero Zero, I wanted to give another shout to our recent Patreon episode where we reviewed the Santa Claus, but we had a bit of a Christmas gathering, a Christmas extravaganza.
It was like a work Christmas party, but we're the only two that work here. So
yeah, that's
good
true.
Turnout.
Good turnout, but some dark stories that will never pass off.
That's tough. Yeah. Oh, those will come to the grave, ladies and gentlemen.
So Shaun came over to my house and we just kind of chilled out for a whole afternoon. We reviewed the Santa Claus and we also gave our Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
If you want to give that a listen, the link is down below at the Patreon. It's just $5 a month and you get access to that episode and a whole bunch of other episodes.
There's a bajillion hours of stuff up there at the minute.
Yeah.
So if you're you're going to have to avoid talking to your family over Christmas. So why not listen to us?
It also has a very special moment that we're not going to reveal just yet.
We're not going to reveal it just yet. It'll come public in a bit. It's kind of public, but also, you know
yourself.
Listen to it. It's about 15 minutes in. It's fucking glorious.
Also, 5 stars on Spotify, everyone.
We're
please.
So close. I know you're listening.
Yeah,
ma'am.
I know you're listening.
So if you could...
We're bringing it up every week.
Yeah, just press the button. Now, look, if you're on Apple Podcasts as well, do it there. That's fine.
Yeah.
If you're on any of the other podcasting platforms, great. But Spotify is the one. Spotify really wants us to get the 100.
Shaking my fist at clouds.
Yeah. It's all up there for now.
Shaun, and okay, well, enough of all that stuff because I want to get into this week's report, and this came from Instagram, it came from a DM, it came from one of our very regular contributors, Mr. Kieran.
I know him.
And he is what I would like to describe as a bastard. And I know you're not meant to say that about your listeners. People kind enough to message in, kind of
rate 5 stars, all of the rest.
Yeah, give 5 stars, maybe contribute to the show in any way. But he takes great pleasure in giving us characters as ideas for Hero Zero, which everyone can do. It's not just limited to him.
Yeah, you can do wherever you want. You can just send those in. But what has Kieran done to you this week, or done to us?
Well, he has picked the character that has the hardest name in all of DC to say.
Can I try?
Yes.
Is it Mr. Mxyzptlk?
I've been practicing this all day. Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Miss Piggy. Mr. Mxyzptlk from The Flash season 4.
So if you've seen the episode title at this moment, I don't need to spell the letters out to you, but that is what I'm going to have to say repeatedly.
You consistently have to fix my spelling in every description. What am I meant to do this week?
Ironically, this would be the one word you get right.
Yeah, just let the dyslexia take over.
There was one episode where I think you put weird news, but WEI of weird was capitalised.
Yeah, no, that was a bad one. I got a new keyboard that day and it was slightly heavier.
Do you remember the time we had 3 episodes for Weird News episode 77?
Yeah, I do. That video still exists somewhere of you realising that. And it's fantastic.
But yes, we are doing Mxyzptlk. Now, a character who has been around for a very, very, very long time. He was created in 1944 originally.
Who?
Yeah,
during the war, they came up with him.
Golden age. Now,
never got better.
What I want to say about, I have to say this every single time, Mr. Mxyzptlk, is this. One, he's the greatest hater in all of comic books.
Love it.
I mean, think of just somebody who wakes up in the morning, he just wants to hate.
Just fuck you specifically.
Like he has enemies.
Yeah.
And he has rivalries, and he just sticks to that. He's got no other goals.
Honestly, I respect it.
You gotta respect it.
2024, I think I want to be more of a hater.
So he was first created by the same guy who created Superman, Jerry Siegel.
Oh,
in 1944.
Real opposite ends of the scale in terms of quality.
And so his first appearance was in Superman number 30 in 1944. However, due to a delay, he also appeared in a newspaper comic strip that also had Superman at the time. And so there was like a weird delay in the publication of the comic book. So the newspaper thing came out first. So technically that's his first appearance, but I'm not going to get into that. Look, he came out with one of them.
Yeah. It is wild to me that Superman was ever like a newspaper comic strip.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
It wasn't that. It's just that they were like running in canon. They
had ongoing storylines.
Yeah.
It was wild. I don't know. That's just a wild time in comic history.
And so Mr. Mxyzptlk
you're getting better every time.
Hang on. I mean, I just feel like we need to figure out a way that I can shorten this. Now, he is known as Mixie to maybe sometimes in the comic book. So Can I get away with Mixie?
You can fully say it. I don't know, can you get away with it? You can do Mixie or Mr. M, whichever you prefer.
Mr. M. So Mr. M, Kieran, once again, this is your fault. Yeah. You made me do this. He was it's a weird one because he's a character clearly based towards children, but then the comics kind of advance from 1944. Then you have to kind of figure out what to do with him as
where
this kind of jokester
in this new DC.
Yeah. Now, what do you know about Mr. M?
I know he's from another dimension. Mm-hmm. And he occasionally makes his way into our dimension to torment superheroes. And I know
not just superheroes.
Anybody.
Superman
specifically.
Yeah. He's got one hater.
Okay. And then the only way to dismiss him is to get him to say his own name backwards.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Is that
I'll
right?
Give you that. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's an imp from the 5th dimension.
Great. Like Batmite, correct?
I'm not. Yeah, but I'm also not going to cover Batmite.
What's wrong with he's not a hater at all.
Mr. M, I want to say right now, is one of the most powerful characters in all of DC. Basically, anything he can think of, he can do. If he decided to turn Superman into dust, Superman would immediately turn into dust.
Why doesn't he do that?
Because he would prefer to annoy Superman rather than kill him.
That's a new level of hater.
He wakes up in the morning and he's got haterade. That's all he's about.
How long have you been waiting to bust haterade out?
Oh, hours.
I thought of it earlier.
This morning I put that together. Not being bound by our physical laws, he can do things that seem magical. In his first appearance, he wreaked havoc across Metropolis by using his powers to pull all manner of pranks. He's a prankster, Shaun.
He's just a prick.
Several of the... Yes, you will learn that very quickly. Just a prick. He's a shithouse, if you will.
But, okay, is he an entertaining shithouse, or is it just, fucking get over it?
Sometimes he's entertaining, but mostly just a shithouse.
Why does he hate Superman?
Well, look, he just... A lot of those pranks, by the way, were him pretending to be dead, and then he was not dead. But like the unsuspecting... Like impractical jokers kind of stuff.
Okay, I'm with you.
What's more, he also... I think this is my favourite bit of doing the research. He destroyed Superman's worldview of himself, because in one of his first articles he jumped out the window and Superman thought he had committed suicide, but he hadn't. And then an astonished Superman said, I thought I was the only man who could fly.
Oh, that really highlights a real vanity in Superman that we rarely see.
It was a 1944 Superman. He hadn't found like true justice in the American way.
1944 Superman he would crumble in an instant. Like anything could set him over the edge.
He was the best, and if anyone challenged that, he would just get nervous.
Yeah,
he'd get the shakes.
Like maybe I'm not the strongest or the fastest. You're still pretty good.
So he soon told Superman that he was a jester in his home dimension, explaining why he used his powers to play practical jokes rather than actually try to do anything. Now, he originally did have designs on conquering the planet for himself, but soon he settled on just tormenting Superman whenever he got the opportunity for the shits and giggles.
That's a classic jester move, to be fair.
Yeah.
Have you heard of jester's privilege, by the way?
No.
It was a thing in medieval courts that the jester could say literally anything he wanted with no repercussions.
Ooh.
He just got a free pass. So, like, if he wanted to just spout, like, secrets that he knew about the king, he could say it. He couldn't do anything because it's a jester.
Right, but, like, I mean, he'd suspiciously fall down the stairs, but, like, it wouldn't be connected to the king.
Yeah, it wouldn't be publicly known. But
yeah, like, he'd lose his kneecaps, but he wouldn't be killed.
He'd still be jesting, but just not very fast.
So his only weaknesses were that he could not stand being ridiculed. And if he said or spelled his name backwards, then he would be sent home. Back to his home dimension for a minimum of 90 days.
Which is wild that's the
Yes.
weakness. Because you would think if he knows that's his weakness, he'll never do that.
And also, he specifically picked that name because he said, like, Earth's names, like, you can't spell his name with, like, the Earth letters.
Yeah.
So he picked that name, thinking, well, it's impossible to say Mxyzptlk backwards.
Yeah. So anytime he is sent back home, it's absolutely his own fault.
Yeah, because he also has to say it, so nobody else can. He also, the thing of he can't stand being ridiculed. He's kind of like Superman back then. They're all just really sensitive.
Yeah, it's like this weird, like, they're the strongest guys in the world or whatever, but if you question them even slightly, they'll fly off the handle. So,
like, not only would they also added in that, like, Superman just tricks him, basically, time and time again, whenever he comes back. The 90-day thing was also very interesting because it certainly coincided with perhaps bringing him back every 90 days when you need a new issue.
Lads, every 3 months we have it sorted, don't worry.
There was one writer who just really fucking loved him, Jerry Siegel, and was like, look, we're bringing this guy back. Every 3 months, he's popping back in.
That's absolutely someone else added that. It was just like, what if we could only do it every 90 days, though? Wouldn't that be fun, Jerry?
When he first appeared, he was also just a small, bald man in a purple suit with a green bow tie and a purple derby hat. Now he has like a futuristic orange outfit now with like a purple trim kind of thing, which is, I mean, he just looks like a jester, basically.
Yeah, so he's not especially strong or brave or anything. He's just magic.
Yeah, and also, to give you an example of one of the first times the Superman tricks him, is that in one of his very first appearances, Mr. M's antics, he's up to no good, and he buys himself a giant typewriter, and this is where he makes up his name, right? So he's like, I'm going to make up this name. It's nearly impossible for Superman to ever say it backwards, or like, this is when everyone could say his name backwards and send him back.
Right,
was the original idea. Then it became like, well, if Superman says it once, then he can just kind of always say it. So let's just make it that he has to say his name to send him back.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so they were like, oh no, this is too powerful if anyone can say it.
So he puts the name, he sets his name up, and he has this giant typewriter, as all comic books did back then, and then Superman grabs the giant typewriter where he left it and defiantly says to the imp that he could never type his name forwards. Mr. M, like, he's like, I obviously can.
You fucking moron.
You fucking idiot, Clarke. I can. Look at this. He used his magic to type the same exact keys as his name. But Superman had rewired the typewriter, Shaun, to be backwards if he had did that.
So, I don't think that's possible on a typewriter.
No, I don't think so, but he's Superman.
No, of course, he's got expert knowledge of typewriter construction.
Of course he does. Well, technically, look, we're not going to get into it. Superman could go to a library and read every book in the world about typewriters and then come back to that exact same conversation.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, if you really wanted to fill in the gaps. But really, it's just lazy writing.
Terrible, honestly.
And then he was sent home because he typed his name in forwards, but it was actually secretly backwards. And then he had to go. So he couldn't return for 90 days. There was also other rules that they kind of came up with. So like random rules originally when they were throwing it around. So like one of the times he said Superman had to get him to paint his face blue, which he eventually was able to do.
How does he fall for it every time?
Because very gullible. He signed up to so many pyramid schemes. He's like Steve Carell in The Office.
Just incredibly suggestible.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Still, if that's your weakness and you know it, surely you would take precautions.
So he like kept coming back, basically because he was always appearing in these comic books and just these small dumb stories and always just getting outsmarted and sent home for another 3 months. But on one of his visits later on, he tried being nice by granting people's wishes. So he's like, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to actually be a good guy. The results, however, were disastrous, as like there was a woman who was like a baker who wished that her dough would rise faster because she had like dinner guests coming, and then when he tried to do that, the dough like spilled out into the street because it rose way too much. There was like another person, several people had a desire to have a Riverview apartment. And so then he used his magic to get their building to stand up and walk over and just put itself in the river.
It's kind of good.
And then lastly, there was hundreds of people that all won the lottery at once.
Oh, like Bruce Almighty.
Like billions of people. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And so they all won like 10 cent or whatever it was.
And so then eventually at the very end, he tells Superman, okay, you get one wish. You can have whatever wish, thinking that Lois and him had broken up at this time. So he's like thinking that Superman will wish that Lois and him could get back together.
Right.
But Superman used his one wish to send Mr. M back.
You gave him Superman will fix up that relationship. He fixed a typewriter that one time.
It's the exact same thing. Women are like typewriters, you always say to me, Shaun.
That is, because... there has
to be
there's
some
a
sort
key.
There's the keys. If you make a mistake, you can't go back.
They are to be treasured and loved.
Tom Hanks has so many of them,
and also listened to.
Why you listen to a typewriter?
Sounds really cool, doesn't it?
True, it's pretty good. So a lot of his things were all just like fairly harmless, but stories I did want to cover were the 3 big stories that he was involved in that I thought were quite cool. Now, one of them is from Alan Moore, who famously writes a lot of comic books and also hates comic books, but he writes them.
He writes graphic novels, Connor.
I do apologise.
And he hates them.
Mr. Mxyzptlk continued to be a thord.
I think you're slipping on the pronunciation again, I will say, just for what it's worth.
You say that 50 times.
Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Okay, say that another 15 times and do it a report.
I don't think that's good content.
Exactly. Right. So this story was called Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. And he basically, in the story, he continues to be a thorn at Superman's side. But Alan Moore kind of offered a really different interpretation of the character, and this is such a cool idea. So he appears looking more sinister than in the past, and finally it's kind of revealed, like, well, in this origin, this isn't canon, but it's like revealed that he explained that the big problem with immortality is finding ways to spend the time. And it's explained that he spent the first 2,000 years without moving, then the next 2,000 years only doing good deeds. And now he's in the next 2,000 years doing only mischievous deeds, just to kind of pass the time.
So he's just bored.
Yeah.
See, I really like that. I like that of like, what if you were immortal? How would you pass the time?
Because, like, Superman's like, why are you always such a dick?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to be. You have all the powers of, like, basically God.
But he's like, I've done everything else, so I might as well be this.
And I think before he attacks Superman in the story, he even like says to him, did you honestly believe a fifth dimensional sorcerer would resemble a funny little man in a derby hat?
I mean, kinda. That's what we were led to believe.
Basically, he's implying that like he doesn't look like that at all. That's just a character he's made up to pass the time, which is why he never kills Superman, because he's entertaining. Yeah,
but it's like, what if I'm... Yeah, because he has like a challenger now who can't die. Like, he can't
Well, actually, in that story, I think Superman does send him to the Phantom Zone and then gets really depressed because he killed him.
All right.
But that's Alan Moore ending. The first bit I was like, really cool, this is a good idea.
Yeah, but like, Mxyzptlk fighting Superman. Mxyzptlk now has a foe that can't, like, he can't beat him in a fist fight or whatever. He can just make his life, he can just cause...
Well, like, as I said, he could literally, in his head, just imagine Superman no longer exists and nobody ever remembers him.
Yeah.
And that would just happen. But
it's funnier to mess with him.
It's funnier to just keep him alive and just mess with his daily personal life.
Yeah, it's more entertaining.
Yeah. There was another story called Emperor Joker, which is a multi-part story throughout Superman titles. You could also know it's like Joker and Mr.
Mxyzptlk.
Thank you. Mr. M, Mixie. They're very similar, is what I would say.
Yeah. Agents of Chaos. No real end goal in mind.
They don't want to kill because it's more fun to keep the hero alive.
If you kill, it's over.
Exactly. And so he actually had his powers temporarily stolen by the Joker. So because he was interested in seeing how somebody else would do at his job, so he intended to give the Joker only 1% of his power. But the Joker tricked him by... There's a thing that they created in this story that if you can reveal his true name... that like doesn't exist on Earth.
Yeah.
If you say that true name, you can take his power.
Oh fuck! Okay, so if you somehow get his fifth dimension, completely different alphabet name, you get all of it.
And so Joker tricks him into revealing it and then says it.
How is he so easily tricked?
And so he acquires 99% of his power instead of 1%.
Jesus. Okay.
And so Mr. M runs to Superman and has to like go get him to help because he's like, Joker has my powers.
You're not going to believe this. I really messed up this time.
Oh, I really messed up this time, Em. Oh, lads.
No, please. I'll say my name backwards. I don't care. Just please.
I'm getting out of here. You're on your own, kid. But the thing is, Joker, even with all that power, they realise, very similar, this is where the connection comes, he doesn't kill Batman or erase Batman.
Yeah.
Because where's the fun?
No, he can now just mess with him in infinite more ways.
And within that story, Mxyzptlk sees himself as serving an important purpose in teaching Superman not to take everything so seriously.
I guess... Because, like, when you compare, like, Mxyzptlk versus fucking, like, Lex Luthor...
Yeah.
It's like, okay, these are two very different foes and challenges.
Lex Luthor actually taught him how to lie as well in one of the stories.
Taught Superman.
Lex lied to him and like tricked him by lying to him, and he had never experienced lying before because his enemy is Superman.
Oh, who wouldn't tell a lie 'cause he's a fucking Boy Scout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Lex fucking tricks him into like telling him lies, and then he learns the concept of lying. It's like the Ricky Gervais movie, basically.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. And then the last story I wanted to cover was a Young Justice story.
I'm familiar.
Every
time it's the same joke.
Every time. Never gets old. More infuriating. If I want us to know, Shaun has never seen Young Justice, even though he would definitely love it, but he specifically goes out of his way not to watch it because I keep telling him to watch it.
You don't know how prepared I was to unwrap a Young Justice DVD.
I should have, but you still wouldn't have watched it.
I still wouldn't. No, I would have thrown it into the sea.
In Young Justice, issue 3, so this is the comic book Young Justice, they actually show his origins as like a serious-minded researcher. So this is just like a story that they came up with in terms of what his origin was. I don't think this is like full canon, but it's Young Justice canon of where the character is, because they show basically Mr. M as just a regular person, a regular student who's like a serious-minded researcher who travelled in time to investigate the behaviour of teenagers. And he chose to examine a Halloween party. What he didn't know was that Robin, Superboy and Impulse were hired to chaperone the party. And so they're like, is that Mxyzptlk? Is that
it's difficult to say, but yeah, that's him, right?
Yeah, it is Robin. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone who mispronounces that's fine. Don't worry about it.
That's fine. That's actually perfectly okay. I actually did be my best friend.
Yeah, but I'd rate it 5 stars.
They're like, is that not him over there? So they go. So they go over and they're like, what are you doing here? And he has no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, because he's back before he's met them.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And so he basically was like, that name sounds fucking weird. Like, that sounds like someone just randomly came up with that name that you keep calling me. And upon discovering the chaotic future that awaited him, so they basically told him everything that they know, he declared that he would dedicate his life to learning and knowledge instead of annoying Superman.
Oh!
So he's like, I won't do that. If that's the dickhead I am, I'm not going to do that.
They broke time travel 101.
Well, however, those words led to a shift in time, creating an apocalyptic world where he was not left to annoy Superman, and the knock-on effect led to the world being destroyed.
So Superman never learns to not treat everything so seriously.
Yes.
That's great.
And in order to avoid this, Robin, Superboy and Impulse realise that they have to go now back in time and instill in him a trademark wacky sense of humour. And they make him watch hours of Three Stooges films on a loop, so he has to watch them.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So they're the reason I know it might not be full DC canon. I really like that as the reason.
Isn't it such a funny idea for a story? And also then it leads him to become the wacky imp that he's destined to be in the future.
Just slapstick humour and weird gags.
Yeah. And then it's weird though, because then later on it appears that he has forgotten the incident, like, as the years have passed.
Yeah. Because
he's confronted by Superboy later on and he doesn't know, like, who he is now. It's never revealed if he's actually playing a trick. And he does remember, or he genuinely doesn't.
Yeah.
But I like that idea that, like, they encounter him, and if he doesn't turn out like he is, like a shithouse, the world ends.
Yeah, which is like, yeah, the idea that I'm not going to say one of Superman's greatest foes.
No.
But without one of Superman's foes, Superman isn't the same Superman, and the world isn't the same world.
Yeah. He actually he did die in comic books before. It's when he makes fun of Doomsday basically coming and killing Superman.
Right.
And instead he recreates his battle to fuck, like, with Metropolis.
Jesus.
And he recreates him, and he creates his own Doomsday with him fighting the creature, which is like an extra spiny version that he calls Bada Bing Bada Boomsday.
Nice.
Unfortunately, the creature is a little too good, and it succeeds in actually killing him in the world.
So he's... Oh... So, and does anything happen when he dies in our dimension?
The imp ends up at the desk of a thing called the Supreme Being, Mike Carlin, the editor for Superman books at the time, who restores him back to life in the comics.
I love when they do this. Yeah. It's my favourite thing.
He goes to God, but God is Mike Carlin, who's the editor for the Superman books.
Who's effectively, like you are the God in the world of the things that you draw. Like,
yeah.
That's so good.
And he then says, I'm going to put you back in.
That and that's why he exists again, and all the characters are fine with it.
Yeah.
Has Superman ever met God?
Oh, I'm sure he has at some stage.
The
Supreme Being is basically God in DC.
It's whoever's writing at the time.
Yeah.
He met God on the edge of existence after the Spectre tried to stop him or some shit.
There you go. Once the Spectre's involved, he's basically God himself.
He's like God's right-hand man.
Yeah. So powers and abilities. He's nigh omnipotent. I can do virtually anything imaginable. He can manipulate anything and everything in the whole world, in the whole universe. He can do anything.
Right. And weaknesses?
So like his powers also have like teleportation, immortality, flight, cosmic awareness, but I'm just literally telling you he can do anything.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah, he's one of the, like, Squirrel Girl is the same, is that her power is that she always wins.
Yeah,
like it's just whatever needs to happen in the moment for things to go according to plan.
As I said, like, he can manipulate anything. So like obviously he can teleport because he can just manipulate time, space, anything, and just put himself at different location. Yeah. It's fine. Like, he can turn himself invisible. Like, his atoms mean nothing. Your atoms mean nothing. He can turn anyone into anything.
Yeah, he just, like, he's on God mode in a video game. Like, he can basically just do whatever.
Yeah, and so his weaknesses are basically he's got a mental disorder, but that he has an irrational compulsion and attachments towards practical jokes and things of a prankish, immature nature. He rarely takes fighting seriously and normally spends his battles goofing off or playing games, uninterested in harming or even killing any of his enemies whatsoever. So it has been demonstrated that this is an aspect of his interaction with a three-dimensional reality. So the more time he spends in the Earth dimension, the more prone he is to engage in puckish behaviour. So the more time he spends on Earth, the more childish he becomes. And then if he goes away, he like resets back to, but he gets worse the minute he comes back.
But he becomes like 6,000-year-old being or whatever he is.
Yeah.
He goes back to that when he goes back to his own universe.
Exactly.
That's fun.
And then, yeah, his other power is that he's easily duped. His weakness is, like, he's easily just tricked.
Fucking idiot is what he is.
Yeah, he's just a fucking tick. He reveals he can also move from one reality to another with one blink. Like, means nothing to him.
Yeah, it's not like this big ritual, or he doesn't need a machine to do it. He's just like, I'm going to go fuck with Superman now.
Like, that is Mr. Mxyzptlk. Yes, Mxyzptlk. I had it nailed like the first 5 times today. I was like practicing.
It loses meaning.
Yeah, the letters lose meaning. But yeah, that character it's just a fun villain for Superman to have, because all of his villains are normally like big muscle guys from gods.
Yeah.
And like then you just have a random god who's just like, he doesn't give a shit. He's not trying to harm Superman.
Yeah, he's God Joker basically.
But God Joker, but like with no violence.
Yeah. Just schemes, plans, antics.
Like, his original plan was to take over the world, and then he decided not to just cause.
Yeah, I'm just going to tie Superman's shoelaces together.
Yeah, basically. Which he learned from the Three Stooges.
It's a very good report, Connor. Can I ask you, before we go, can you say his name backwards?
Yes. Hang on. I put down the enunciation up here. I had it somewhere.
Oh, yeah, of course, he's had it somewhere, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's Kiltipzizim.
Kiltipzizim. That's somehow easier to say than it is the front way.
Kiltipzizim is the name backwards.
Why would we Kiltipzizim?
You've said them back so many times.
No, it was a very good report, Conor.
Thank you.
I appreciate learning all about the character with the worst name to say on a report for half an hour.
I've been avoiding him for years, and Kieran specifically wanted that. So,
well,
I mean,
look,
annoyed me, but I had to do it.
The SEO on this episode is going to be great, let me tell you.
Do you want to take us out?
Yes, thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Hero or Zero. We will be back on Wednesday with Weird News Wednesday, and then next Friday with another episode of Hero or Zero. As mentioned, there is a very special Christmas episode up on the Patreon, patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast, if you want to check that out. And also it helps support the show and helps keep us making it. There is also a merch store link below, heroesforhire.ie/shop. Twitter is @HeroesForHirePod. The 4 is the number 4. Facebook is Detective Divilment's discussion group. Instagram is Heroes for Hire podcast. And the best way to ever help out the show is to tell one human being that we exist.
Just a one, please.
And I think that's about it, Conor.
I think so. So I've been Conor Lorraine.
And I've been Mr. Mxyzptlk Shaun.
See y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.